Hello, everybody. Welcome. My name is Jay. Glad to be here to hold this space in these trying times. I wanted to start by just sharing the motivation for this session. One of our team members here, Alexis, was having a conversation with a colleague at Healthy Minds Innovations and talking a little bit about the dissociation and trauma that seems to be constant in sort of the modern media scape and hearing about everything that's going on, namely the polarization, injustice, and violence that's happening in the world. And Alexis sort of inspired a conversation internally to say we should hold a space for those who might need it. And so I think the sentiment really is that it's kind of hard to show up sometimes when you're overwhelmed. It's hard to just go to work and act like things are normal. It's hard to sit here and try to lead a meditation or to sit here and try to practice a meditation if you're feeling a lot of overwhelm. And so we're going to be leading a very gentle, soft, and even short practice today to just get some space in your day to reconcile and accept the moment as it is. I have a 3-year-old son, and we've been experimenting with teaching him emotion. And there was an interesting thing that happened the other day where we had were drawing a kind of emotion map on the wall. And one of the emotions that came up from one of those scientific emotion wheels, the science of emotion. And the emotion that came up was overwhelmed. And my 3-year-old with his, he's just figuring out language, but he was like, "Daddy, what does overwhelmed mean?" And I didn't really know what to say. And my wife chimed in and said, "Well, overwhelmed is when you're feeling a lot of the other feelings at the same time." And I thought that was a really interesting descriptor of how I feel often, and many of us feel, trying to tap into what's going on in the world these days. There's just so much happening, and there's these weird combinations of grief and sadness, as well as potential hope and opportunity and challenges, and it's all just happening at the same time. And I think what's important to remember in moments of overwhelm is that it is a lot. And often you'll hear when we're working with emotion in our meditation practice that we need to sort of accept that emotion. And, I say often that acceptance is not surrender, that emotions have an inherent energy to them. And when we feel that emotion, we can accept that emotion for what it is. We can accept the situation that caused that emotion. And that doesn't mean we necessarily endorse that situation. In the case of injustice and polarization and violence, often the first step is to simply accept that this is the way things are. Otherwise, we end up reactive and perhaps not responding in the most skillful way. So to accept something doesn't mean to endorse it, but simply to accept that this is the way things are, to harness the energy of those emotions, and to use that to take skillful action that may make a difference. Now, this is all assuming you're not overwhelmed. And that was kind of the keystroke of insight there, which was that when you're overwhelmed, all these ideas are well and good, but you are drowning in all these emotions. And this is a moment where we maybe have to let go of some of those ideas and take a moment to just let it settle, to take care of ourselves and find a path back to something a little more balanced before we can even begin to process, let alone take action. And that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to lead a 10-minute practice that's really focused on acceptance and self-care. It's going to be relatively effortless and gentle, and we're going to get started right now. So take a moment to find your position, whatever position feels right for you. If you really need self-care, you're welcome to lie down or to sit comfortably. If you want to lean into this in a more sort of alert way, you can sit upright, straighten your back, close your eyes if you'd like, or choose a point in front of you and relax your gaze. And now that you're in this position that you think you should be in, I'll allow you to take this moment to feel into your body and notice if there's any micro adjustments that you need to make. Just noticing what's here in the body, readjusting your hips, finding a more stable foundation, shifting the position of your hands in your lap. Whatever your body is telling you needs to be slightly adjusted. And when you're ready, opening up with a hopeful, loving awareness to notice that amidst all the struggle, there's still so much positive that we can stay connected with. For example, this breath you're taking that is nutritious and sustaining your life. If you feel challenging emotions like anger or grief, letting that be there, but also noticing that they come from a place of care, that you wouldn't necessarily feel angry or any other challenging emotion if you didn't care. Noticing the sounds in your environment around you without trying too hard. If your eyes are closed, noticing the darkness and color behind your eyelids. If your eyes are open, noticing color, shape, texture, movement. And what I'll invite you to do as you get attuned to whatever's happening, to whatever it's like to be you, to see if you can accept this moment as it is. First and foremost, with all its imperfections and challenges, with everything that's uncomfortable, everything that's uncertain, all the challenging parts of our own nature, the greed, the aggression, but also accepting the beautiful parts of our nature, the care, the compassion, accepting the beautiful things that are happening in this moment. Accepting it all as the way things are. Seeing if you can find some grounding in acceptance, knowing that acceptance is not surrender, that it's not an endorsement of the present moment, but merely a radical acknowledgement of the way things are. If your mind wanders or you feel drowsy or dull, accept that too. Let it happen. See if you can take this brief practice as an opportunity to stop trying. To find a sense of presence in the moment, knowing that there are many aspects of the moment that it feels like you can't accept. Just like there are many aspects of this moment that are mysterious and worthy of love and gratitude. See if you can open up to include the full spectrum of human nature and human experience. And as your attention wanders from one thing to another, or if your attention is relatively stable on one thing, in either case, see if you can offer a bit of love, a bit of positive energy to wherever your attention happens to go. So, for example, my attention was just drawn to a tree out this window that was blowing in the wind. I took the opportunity to just send a little bit of positive sentiment, a little positive intention to that tree. And this applies even if you have a negative emotion or challenging thought. Just send a little positivity to wherever your attention might go for the next few minutes. If it helps, you can say a few words to yourself. You can say a single word like love or ease, or you can use traditional phrases like may you be safe, may you be healthy, may you be free. Or if the words don't really work for you, you can visualize sending love, maybe in the form of glowing energy, or just feel into it, maybe putting a slight smile on your lip. Whatever seems to work for you to get a little more positive in that engagement with whatever you're paying attention to. When we're feeling overwhelmed, we have lots of feelings, lots of ideas that come up. It can be really hard to sort of find ground, to find some kind of center. And this is where it's important to remember that the wide spectrum of human experience and human nature, it's all here as well as out there. So those things that might be far out and distant and make us feel powerless. If we're overwhelmed, the first step is to sort of find that center in ourselves and to take care of ourselves. And once we find balance, only then can we harness the energy of our emotions into skillful action, whether that's skillful action in the way you are, or in the way you treat the people around you, or maybe something larger in the way you work or new causes you find. It all starts from within. So take this last minute to find a sense of acceptance, a sense of love, a sense of mindful awareness right here and now in this moment. There's nothing you have to get or cultivate here. It's already here. Even if you're overwhelmed, one of those many emotions you're feeling could be challenging you. All of those emotions could be challenging you. But seeing if you can find some sense of balance simply by noticing what's here and not trying to change it. Okay, wonderful. Thanks so much for taking that ride with me. You can open your eyes if they were closed, get a sip of water, have a stretch. And if you're up for it, please feel free to share in the comments or the chat a little bit about what came up for you in that practice. And in the meantime, what I'll say is that, I, as a father, sometimes I look at what's happening in the world and I wonder about the world that my 3-year-old is going to live in. And it can be really scary. Again, with that polarization and the violence and the injustice in the world. But some part of me just has to sort of take care of myself and take care of him first and foremost, and then find a way to, in my own life, be a source of the better angels of our nature. That if I see hate out in the world and it angers me, sometimes it feels like the first step is to notice if there's any hate in my own heart and work with that first, and then start to engage in the bigger picture. So I'm by no means an expert in this area, but hopefully holding some of this space has been useful. And I see Kathy, you shared in the chat. Yeah, gratitude. Beautiful. Thank you, Kathy. And thank you, everyone. Take care. I hope you find some balance in these troubling times, and I hope you find a way to find some element of positivity despite the challenges that we face. And I must say that I believe that our more positive elements will prevail, and it's just a matter of time and a matter of us finding each other and working together to make change happen. So thank you so much. Take care.